Thanks to everyone for coming to the healing room tonight. Tonight's topic of conversation is manifestation and the subconscious mind. And this is a pretty significant topic in the world. We hear it so much about how we have the power to manifest whatever it is that we want. We just have to focus and bring it into reality, right? Easy peasy. And it's a lot more complex than that for me. And I have a lot of experience with manifestation over many, many years. So what I'm sharing is my direct experience. It's not the gospel by any means, but it's what's worked for me and how I have, created the reality that really works for me in this world. So to me, manifestation isn't based on me having an idea and just wanting to materialize that. It's not like a mental thing that's happening. It's actually a heart-centered thing. And manifestation for me is the awareness that something is in my field of consciousness and is approaching me. So this feeling arises within me that I need to focalize so I can be a clear receptor of that which is my destiny. So manifestation to me relates directly to our soul's path, our soul's purpose, and destiny. So before the soul incarnates, it has a plan, it has goals, it has contracts that it's made with other souls to have certain experiences. So if the path is already set, what is it that we have to do to manifest beyond being aware in each moment of what our next steps and stages are in our life? So an example of this is in the early 2000s, I had this vision of a house that looked really beautiful that I felt like I wanted to live in. And it was in nature, surrounded by acres of land, and it was very peaceful. And it was the perfect match for what I was wanting to experience. So I spoke into existence and I said, I receive the perfect house and perfect timing that is in nature with all this acreage of land and quietude and peace, and where the inside of the house feels like I'm outside in nature. That was my parameters. Very simple, basic. I don't want to put too much of a container on the manifestation. And so fast forward 15 years, and I find this house, or it finds me. I'm not sure actually who's doing what, to be honest. Like, why did that idea of a house pop into my mind at that moment in time? Was it an intuition? Was it a vision of the future? So who's manifesting what? That was my thought when I found this house, because I saw this house online. It's in North Carolina. I was in New York. And I told my realtor, it was the first house I looked at. I said, that's the house. Put an offer for me. I'll take it. And he's like, you can't buy a house sight unseen. I said, actually, I know the house. I created it. It's in my mind. I created it inside of me, or it created me. And so I know it's my home. And he said, no, I can't possibly put an offer on a house you haven't seen. You have to come see it. Trust me, I'm a realtor. I know what happens if you don't look at the house first. I said, fine, I can come in 2 weeks. The next day, it goes on pending. Someone put an offer. And I said, universe, we all know that's my house. So it can stay in pending until I come, but it needs to go off pending by the time I get there. Sure enough, the day before I get back to North Carolina, it's back up for sale. I go see it. I buy it. I'm now living in it for, what is it now, 8 years? So how does this happen? Like, how some part of me knew something was to come. Because even the way it manifested this house, I was walking in North Carolina with my cousin, and I said, one day I'm going to buy a house here. I have this feeling. And he said, you want to buy a house? And he picks up his phone, calls his realtor, tells his realtor, my cousin wants to buy a house now. And I'm just like, no, no, one day, well, not now, one day. And then the realtor's like, oh, I'll call the mortgage people. We'll immediately get the mortgage approval. And I'm like, what's going on here? I'm not involved in this decision-making process. So I'm watching this whole thing unfold and very aware, like, this is not my doing. This is the universe interceding. This is divine order and timing occurring. And I got to pay attention because everyone's moving and no one's listening to me. So clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are the things to pay attention to, this flow, this movement of energy in a direction of is always informing us of our destiny. And we want to stay on path with our destiny, our soul's path, because if not, then we experience suffering. When we use our will instead of the divine will, align with the divine will, when we use our will to manifest, to devise our life, we can create a lot of problems for ourselves because the ego, the personality, doesn't know the destination. It has desires, it has wants, it has needs, but it isn't necessarily in alignment with the soul's path and purpose. So, an example of this, of me going against or trying to go against my higher self, was when I was living in Hawaii. And at a certain point, I decided I'm going to buy a house here because I love it. I love this land. I love living by the water. So I'm going to buy a house. I didn't tune in. I didn't ask. I didn't check in at all. I just went with what I wanted. And I got the mortgage approval, no money down to buy a house. That was pre 2008 and the subprime blow up. So they gave me anything I wanted. And I was like, great, that was easy. So I started looking for a house, and my inner voice says, do not buy a house here. Loud and clear. And I'm like, why would I not want to buy a house here? Of course I want to buy a house here. Nope, this is not your place to live. You will not be happy here. And I'm like, of course I'll be happy here. So do you hear that resistance? That's the voice you want to know, that resistance, because that's the voice to never follow. That is my will. I want. But here is this guidance coming in, because I would never say those words. I would never say, don't buy a house here. You're not going to be happy. So clearly, it's a vector of intuition coming through. So because I was so stubborn, I had to contact a friend of mine who is a clairvoyant. And I said, I want to buy a house here in Hawaii. Could you just check for me to see if that serves my highest good? And she's like, immediately, she's like, oh, no, no, no. You need to go back to New York City within 8 months. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to New York City. No, no, you have to go. You have unfinished business. And I'm like, all right, I have to follow this. I have to follow this. So I got a place for 8 months in Hawaii. And by the 6th month, I was very agitated. I no longer wanted to be on the Big Island. I was no longer an energetic match. So my higher self, of course, knew. The clairvoyant knew. So I hightailed it back to New York City. And within a few weeks, a friend of mine contacts me and says, I want to offer you $10,000 for a car. I got in meditation that you need a car. And I'm like, I don't need a car. I'm in New York City. I'm good. And she's like, no, no, I got very clearly you need a car. So I want to gift you $10,000. I said, no, I don't need a car. Thank you. I'm good. And I thought that was very strange. And then a few months later, another person contacts me and says, I want to offer you $10,000 for a car. And I'm like, all right, all right. I'm not a fool. This is guidance, and something's happening that I'm not aware of. So I said, sure, I'll accept the money. And I said, all right, universe, clearly there's something I don't know here that we're doing. And I accept the car and I want it to be a blue RAV4. That's what I want because I kept seeing a blue RAV4 everywhere I went in the streets. And so a week later, I wake up and I hear your blue RAV4 is waiting for you at Bay Ridge Toyota. Go pick it up. Sure enough, I go there. There's one RAV4. It's blue and it's mine. So again, who's manifesting what? Why would two people contact me and offer me the gift of a car when I didn't need one? If there wasn't a destined path, who's running the show here? So let's fast forward now to that car was needed because I went upstate New York where I used to do sessions before I left for Hawaii. And a friend of mine there was gathering clients for me. So she was holding space and I would go and see clients there. And she called me and said, I only have two people for you who want sessions. And my immediate response was, oh, I'm not going to come all the way up there for two sessions. And immediately I heard, you will go. You will go. So I said, okay, I'll come. Even though it makes no sense, I will come. So I go up there. I do two sessions. The second session is Robin up here. And after the session, she says, have you ever considered working in Connecticut? I have a healing center in Connecticut. And I was like, yeah, I would like that. And so it turns out for the next 7 years, I'm driving back and forth from New York City to Connecticut. So the point of all these stories is there's a destined path that if we simply align with that destined path, all that is ours will come to us in perfect timing. We simply need to be aware and awake of the visions, the feelings, the intuitions, the knowings of what to do next on our path, and then to be a clearing to receive, that which wants to manifest through us that is our birthright. That which wants to manifest through us because it's our destiny to receive it. But again, I have to be a vibrational match to that which wants to arise. If I'm not, it will not happen, it will not manifest. An example of this is some years ago, I woke up one morning, I decided I'm tired of living from paycheck to paycheck. I never had much interest in making much money, just enough to live, survive, pay my bills. But I never was one to make more than I needed. And so one day it just hit me that this needs to stop. This type of limitation on my abundance needs to end. And so I did some inner work, subconscious work, because there are programs in our subconscious that are running the show, that are running our lives and limiting our abundance on all levels. So since I was aware of that, I knew I had to find the program that said, I don't really want money. I don't need money. I don't care about money, right? All those types of programs. And I went to the subconscious and found poverty consciousness or a vow to poverty. So that program was limiting my capacity to receive mega abundance. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to do a ritual, which I made up, just a ritual on receptivity and rewriting the contract. So completing the contract with poverty consciousness and the vow of poverty. The vow of poverty is a contract you make with yourself. at some point in time, some other lifetime. We say all these words, and all of our words spoken is recorded, is contracted. So we have to go back into the subconscious, find these contracts, and rewrite the contract, rewrite the script. So I rewrote the contract. I opened up my field to receive the abundance I am, to receive the megabundance I am. I cleared my space in my home. I feng shuied it so that the quadrant or the gua for abundance was fed and nourished. I put an empty vessel there, put some gold coins in it. I fed it with purple. I believe that was the color at the time. And that was it. I let it go. And I knew it was done. I spoke the words, I did the ritual, I incorporated the programs in my subconscious that were limiting, and now I knew the abundance would come. And sure enough, within a month, a good amount of money showed up my way. Cleared the path to receiving. So chances are that abundance was already coming, was already on its way. And that's why I woke up that morning and felt I need to clear this. So I don't know that I created the abundance as much as I opened up the field of consciousness to receive the abundance because I was aware it was on its way. So the intuition, the subtle impulses we receive, this is the guidance we want to follow in order to know what are the next steps in my path and what is it I need to manifest, materialize, and to ensure that I am an open, receptive vehicle for that abundance. There's a great story with Jim Carrey. I'm not sure if you all have heard of it, where he wrote himself a check for $10 million. So in 1992, he writes himself a check for $10 million for the services of acting, for acting and performing services. And he puts the date to Thanksgiving 1995. And he said he visualized on a regular basis the receptivity of those funds. He really created this field of I am receiving that which already is. So some part of him knew it was going to happen. And he even knew the timing because he received that much money, $10 million, for Dumb and Dumber right before Thanksgiving 1995. So can any of us put down $10,000 on a check for services rendered and a date and receive that? I don't know. I think it's if it's our destiny, if I am called to do that, if I am guided to do that, I would do that. But if not, I'm not going to play around with money like that. I don't do that. I want to be in total alignment with my higher self and soul so that I am supporting my destiny, not trying to override it. So imagine if I bought that house in Hawaii, my whole destiny would have changed. I wouldn't have come back to New York. I wouldn't have worked at the healing center where so much incredible work happened in Connecticut. I wouldn't have been here for my father's passing in 2008 and having to take care of his whole estate for 4 years. So if I would have not paid attention to my inner calling, to the truth inside of me, and if I just followed my own whims, my own egoic wishes and desires, I could have totally sidetracked my life. Right? Who knows where I would have been in 10, 15 years? Who knows where I would be today? No idea. But I know that was the right decision to come back to New York City, to work in Connecticut, take care of my father's estate, and on the story goes. Because I'm in alignment. I am listening. I am committed. I'm committed to my soul's path and my soul's journey. And so we each have free will, right? We each have free will to do what we want. We're free to follow our soul's path and destiny, or we're free to follow our own personal egoic will. We are free. One is the path of freedom, the other is the path of suffering. Because whenever I went against the guidance, I suffered. So we always want to be in alignment with the greater part of ourself, that we may be on that path to our destiny. And if those things that are ours are not arising, then we have to look at the obstacles in the subconscious mind. Because in order to receive, we have to learn the lessons. Like I needed to learn the lesson of letting go of this vow of poverty. I'm not an ascetic in India, in the mountains, in this lifetime. I'm not an ascetic. It's a different moment in time. So in order to have manifested mega abundance, I had to do the inner work to clear the programs. And that's for anything. For relationships, if the relationship one is desiring is not arising, one has to look to see, do I have any fears of intimacy? Do I have any obstacles to receiving this person I would like to receive? Because the person exists, they are there, but we're not a vibrational match to receive that person yet. We're not a vibrational match to receive that job yet. We're not a vibrational match to have a healthy body yet. So that's subconscious content. Delving deep into the subconscious is a very important part of the healing process and the manifestation process. Because the more healed we are, the more whole we are, the more excavated that subconscious mind is, the more capacity we have to materialize, to generate, to manifest whatever it is that we want, whatever it is that we need. Because if I am in alignment and there's no obstructions within me, manifestation is like that. And when I say like that, it doesn't mean like I say apple and apple happens. I'm not there yet, but it means I say the tenant across the street is leaving and I have 2 weeks before they're gone. So I will say the perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace without me having to lift one finger. And I'll say it 3 times. The perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace, and I don't have to lift one finger. The perfect tenant shows up with ease and grace, and I don't have to lift one finger. And sure enough, someone shows up without me having to advertise or anything and takes it the day after the old tenant leaves. That is the next level of manifestation, where all my needs are met as they arise. Any need I may have is met while it arises. And if it doesn't, I'll say, help me see the obstacles within my subconscious or anywhere. Help me see and clear the obstacles to receiving the abundance I am. Help me see and clear the obstacles to receiving the abundance I am. Our words are powerful. Our visions are powerful. Our intentions are powerful. So always be your word. Never mess around with words, because everything is being recorded. The Akashic records The universe is listening to everything we are saying, and it is giving us, it is manifesting for us everything we believe. So, because the subconscious mind operates from rhyme and rhythm, we want to continually give it the new program. I receive abundance with ease and grace. Abundance finds me everywhere I go. The subconscious is like, oh, I thought we don't need money. I thought money is evil. I thought, nope, new program. Abundance finds its way to me with ease and grace whenever I need it. And so anytime there is a need for something, you speak it into existence, not wanting something, not wanting, knowing. I receive the perfect tenant in perfect timing with ease and grace. Ask and it's given. Ask and it's already done. I receive the perfect tenant in perfect timing with ease and grace without lifting a finger. Done. That's it. It's complete. Ask and it's done. I'm a clearing for receiving, so I know it will happen. I'm not wondering if it's going to happen. I am a clearing for its occurrence because it's already occurred. It's already done. This is very important with manifestation. If this is mine, it will arise with ease and grace. If it is not, I let it go. I don't hold on. I don't get attached. Do not attach to any of it, especially timing. Especially timing. It's in divine timing, not my timing. How many times, though, I said, where's that house? I'm ready to be in my house. And I'd hear, take a dose of impatience. You're very impatient. I said, I know, but I can feel it. I can see it. It's like, it's not time yet. And it was true. It wasn't time yet. So we are manifestors. We are creators. We can have whatever experience we want here, but make sure you ask for that experience that is in alignment with your soul's path and your soul's purpose and your soul's destination. Because then you are safe and protected from creating something that doesn't serve you. So I always say at the end when I'm manifesting, I say, if it serves the highest good for myself and all of the universe, then great. If not, I let it go. If not, I let it go. And again, if we're not manifesting our heart's desire, not our mind's desires, our heart's desire, then we have to become the clearing for receptivity. And that's where the deep subconscious work comes in. Great.